Welcome to week 6 of our Senior Living Operations class. This week we will discuss dining services operations. There's a lot to food and beverage services in senior living communities. All the pieces of the puzzle have to come together. Food quality, ingredients, the purchasing of the right food and the right price, the service we provide to our residents. I prepared 2 presentations this week for you. One is presentation on the actual operation, setup, kitchen, management, and so forth, staffing in our retirement communities. The second presentation talks a little bit about trends in senior dining, which is an excerpt of a presentation that I received from Morrison Senior Dining. So we'll jump right in. One thing I wanted to discuss is that the dining services operation in a senior living community is clearly one of the top priorities. Oftentimes residents will speak up more about the dining program in favor and in criticism than any other operation in our campuses, and the reason is the dining services, the food is the number one factor for quality of life. If the food's not good, the quality of life suffers, and therefore it's important for us to put together the right programs, offer our residents choices, flexibility in the dining options they have, and make sure that they're happy and satisfied. So let's jump right into the first presentation. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, please post your questions on the Ask the Instructor discussion board on Blackboard, and I'll be happy to answer your question. Thank you.
The success of your senior living operation will largely depend on the success of its dining program. Seniors that move into retirement communities always stress that the food is very important. It's a very important part of their day. It's more than just getting a meal. It's a social experience. It's the experience of being taken care of receiving good nutrition. And so the dining services operation is a very important part. It all starts with the concept and design. And that is obviously the layout of the dining room, the different servery options such as buffet or a la carte service, the finishes in the dining room, the mood in the dining room, and the presentation of the food as well. So there's a variety of things. Your kitchen should be built and laid out to accommodate for the maximum traffic required to serve your customers, and that is largely depending on the meal plans you have chosen to offer your seniors, and we'll get to that, and also planning for rush times. Oftentimes when the dining room opens early, that's when the first large rush comes in, so the kitchen should have a good traffic flow. You should have enough food holding, enough food storage, and the capacity should be built around the largest numbers of projected meals as well. Here's a management and staffing example. In smaller communities, you want to stress the importance of cross-training staff. I am personally working with one senior living community that is 100% independent living. They have a dining program that is a la carte and on demand, and the executive director actually sometimes serves the meals herself or helps out in the kitchen. And that is one good example of cross-trained staff, if you will. But the reality is people should be cross-trained, so you can have somebody cook, can have somebody serve, and also do the dishes. Very important. Meal plans and planning meals. There's a variety of meal plans that retirement communities offer. Sometimes it's 30 meals per month. Sometimes it's a meal per day. And the difference between those is just the credits, how they're accounted for. Then there's variations, 20 meals a month or 40, 50 meals a month. For assisted living, oftentimes it's 3 meals a day, and a la carte or on demand. Breakfast, you can offer different choices: continental, hot buffet, or a la carte. Lunch, there's a variety of options available, and typically for dinner you plan on 80% participation, 3 entrees, soup, salad, dessert, and you should also accommodate for snacks and small meals in some sort of deli or pantry. That's becoming increasingly popular in retirement communities. And last but not least, employee dining. It's important to take care of your employees, and it really boosts employee morale as well. The menu should be a written menu that accommodates for senior needs. We'll get into trends and in senior dining in the second presentation. Cycle menus work really well, having set up 4 to 6 week cycles plus seasonal specials, and then theme meals as well, to just keep it interesting and to keep it fresh and new for the residents. Since food is the number one expense after labor, it is very important to be diligent in the food purchasing process, to bid vendors against each other, but also to strike strategic supplier relationships with group purchasing organizations, with big distributors. Examples are Sysco or Food Services of America or US Foods, for example. It's very important to have standard specifications in place in the kitchen and in the dining operation to ensure the consistency of the food. And inventory cost control. Make sure you have your inventory sheets, you have good staff taking care of your inventory so you don't have any loss in inventory. Last but not least, the cost per meal when it comes to the financial side of things. And cost per meal is an industry standard term, is what is a meal, what constitutes a meal. Some organizations go off of a blank dollar schedule or point schedule to determine that between the various meals such as breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Production sanitation. The executive chef would plan the production, would make sure that the production plan is in place. That goes hand in hand with the menu plan. There are some cost-saving tips for the kitchen on page 124 in Senior Living Communities in the book. Sanitation, food safety, very important to follow laws, regulations, to have policies, procedures in place. And food temperature is a big one in your state, especially if you have healthcare in your building. The state survey will come into your dining services operation. Check for food temperature, check for sanitation, check for policies, procedures, and sanitation. So employee safety, it's important to have safe equipment, have a lockout tagout procedure in place. That means if equipment is broken or doesn't seem right, make sure you don't just leave the station, but you actually lock it out and put a tag on it that this equipment does not work, so the next employee doesn't get to use the equipment. Slip resistant floors or slip resistant shoes, or a combination thereof. One company is called Shoes for Crews. That's a very important, a well-known program that's provided to senior living providers and also healthcare providers. The eye washing station and the emergency medical kit are important to have those in the kitchen for accidents and so forth. So this was it on kitchen and food services operations. Quick overview. If you have any questions, please go to Ask the Instructor discussion board or send me an email to thirsch@retirement.org. Thank you.